Hey, it's Tim here with Expert Power Wash. Behind me, I have an Ultimate Mini Skid. This is shipping out to Maryland today, so I just wanted to make this video for the customer, so it'll be a little bit different. This will be catered towards showing the customer how our systems work and what everything is. So as I walk through this, I'm going to post this publicly here on YouTube. So if there's any value for you guys or any information that helps you get familiar with our products, this video will be available to everybody, but keep in mind this is being catered to Chris over in Maryland. So let's take a look at this thing. All right, Chris, here's your Ultimate Mini Skid. We'll do just a quick walk around so you can see everything that is on this skid. This is going to be 5.5 feet by 41 inches wide. So anybody else watching this video, this will fit a lot of vans and smaller size trucks, as well as your regular size trucks. So we'll start back here at the back. You're gonna have 3 hose reels on here. Starting at this one, these are all 12-inch reels. You got 200 feet of soft wash hose here. This is our really good soft jet hose. This has been a top choice. It's really flexible. It doesn't kink up. Everything is crimped here, sealed up tight. I have some testing clips that we've done with this skid, and I'll link them to the end of the video there if you guys would like to see this thing running. Of course, we're not doing like distance tests or anything like that, but just it's overall operation of everything functioning on this skid. We have the ST510 gun here with the 4 different nozzles. This is all stainless steel couplers. If you look on these, I don't know if you can see them there. You probably can't see them, but we have 40 degree, 25 degree, 15 degree, and 0 degree. So this one and this one is my top favorites for when I'm shooting a roof. And the other here, these are just different degree patterns that you can spray while you're up there, or buildings or whatever you're spraying. But that is your application hose. That's all ran through the 12-volt system. So we'll go down over here. This is the new Remco pumps, and it is upside down there. We flipped these to help make them last a little bit longer, but this is a dual control. The biggest thing with this pump is it eliminates cycling. So you're not gonna get some of those issues that you have with the standard Remco pumps. This one's gonna last a little bit longer. This one is preset by the factory. So there is a setting screw under here. This has been filled in with rubber by the company, by Remco. So they do not want you to adjust that. They want you to leave it set at the factory setting. As far as changing out this pumps, all pumps go bad. It's just a matter of when. We refer to them as a consumable item. So we've made pump swap outs super easy. So in the past here, we used to have nylon nuts on here. Now we have flange nuts. So these lock in real nice and tight with the rubber. So you got 4 of them there. A pump change will normally take you about 5 minutes or less. That was done to eliminate downtime. Last thing we want is for anybody to be down and this to be a cumbersome task to have to switch this out. So quick connects here, flip this down, pull that out. Same thing on the other side there. Everything is sealed up really nice. 10 gauge wiring here. The heavy duty heavy duty on and off switch here. You got your marine grade battery in here. Everything is fully charged as of right now. It wouldn't hurt to top this thing off if you're on the pump quite a bit every day. Just put it on a trickle charger. You do have a recharging system on the pressure washer, so if you're running the pressure washer daily, it will send a charge to that 12-volt pump, but I wouldn't solely rely on the pressure washer to fully charge that up. So hope that all makes sense. We'll jump over to the mixing station before we head to the rest of the reels here. So this is going to be our Pro Mixer XL. And some things that we've done to make this thing last a little bit longer and get a little more distance and more performance out of here. This is 3/4 here for your water, 3/4 here for your chemical, and then the standard 1/2 inch for your soap. As far as maintenance items on these things, the things that typically go out on these, which is very, very common, is going to be your check valves. Usually not your water and usually not your soap. This is the one that's going to fail. So keep an eye at all these different types of fittings here. Anything on this valve, once you start seeing crystallized white, that is a tall tale sign that It's time to pull that leg of the mixer off and reseal those up. Again, completely normal. Everything's been sealed, everything's been tested. We've run this thing, but over time you will develop leaks. It's just part of the business. It's just part of maintenance and keeping up on your equipment. Same thing on this valve here. Everything is sealed up super nice and tight. We've tested everything. But again, over time you will develop leaks in any of the areas that has bleach running through. It's corrosive. It takes a toll on everything. So again, 3/4, half inch. Everything's locked up nice and tight. The clamps that we use on these things, these are 100% stainless. So usually on stainless steel clamps, or at least the ones you get at Home Depot, this is stainless, and then they'll use some type of zinc plated screw. So these are full stainless all the way through, so the bands and the screws. The hardware is all 316 stainless. That's something that we've upgraded recently. So gone away from the 304. It's great hardware. It's chemical resistant and it lasts long. It doesn't rust, but 316 is just a little bit better. So it costs us a little bit more in hardware, but we're giving you a better product in the long run here. So hopefully that makes all sense. That all makes sense. This is the bleach rinse valve. I didn't get into a whole lot of the operation of this, but when you're rinsing out your pump, you would turn this to water. And when you're spraying, you'd be on chemical there. So when you're on rinse, after you're all done, you would turn that, make sure that your soap is off, and then you want to open this all the way. So I see a lot of guys, they'll just have that on off. If I ever see that on off, that's a sign that this system's not fully getting rinsed out. We just had a guy in the shop earlier this week where he brought his system in, and as soon as I notice that the bleach is on the off position, that's a sign that there's going to be an issue. What happens is you pull water through here, your soap doesn't really usually corrode up, but you're not pulling anything through this valve over here. Even with a rinse valve, this guy was turning that to off. So you want to have this fully on, and by having that fully on, you're able to pull water, no soap, and water. So you're pulling water and water. So that completely rinses out the system. Hope that all makes sense. If that does not, throw a comment down there and the link for anybody else that's watching this. Chris, as you're watching this video, if you have questions, give me a call. We provide 100% support for anybody that buys a skid from us. Make sure that everything's going to work perfectly for you. Let's get back over to the reels. So right here we have 200 feet of pressure hose. In my opinion, this is the best pressure washer hose available. This is Fierce Jet. It's going to be a nice smooth jacket. It's gray, it's non-marking. If we can see here, it's 4250 PSI. So most pressure washer hoses that are one wire are rated at 4,000 tops. So these are rated a little bit higher. We've ran these on our personal trucks for years. We sell it in the shop. And if there was better hose, I would have it on the skid. But to date, this is the best hose that is available. That's what we run on our skids. So 200 feet there, we do have the ball valve on here with the DN10. So this is gonna make it so you can quickly connect to a surface cleaner or a different kind of gun. There's still some water in there from testing. The rails are full frame aluminum. The big things that matter here is all the stainless. So this needs to be stainless, this needs to be stainless, full frame aluminum. And the stainless steel manifold runs through the middle of the hose reel. So you got chemical, not this one, there's going to be water running through it, but if you're looking at this one, you have chemical that runs through the middle of this hose reel. These swivels, these are Mossmatic swivels. So we've swapped out the stock swivels for these. These are all 100% stainless steel, made in the USA, super high quality stuff. You can adjust the drag on your reels by just turning these. And we will usually just have these finger tight. So this, it brings the block up and then the block rides on the manifold here. The tighter, the less likely the hose is going to roll out fast. So a little adjustment there that you can make. All right, we'll go on over to the garden reel here. So you got 100 feet of Flexzilla hose. This is 3/4. Again, all of our reels, whether there's chemical running through them or not, are fully stainless and full frame aluminum. This one happened to have Titans on it. You have 3/4 coming into the water tank here. Again, we've switched out the swivel there to another Moss-matic. And if you look in here, if I can open this up on camera. This is a 55-gallon tank. We'll get into the tanks here in just a second. But if you can look in there, you can see our drop sticks, everything's slotted PVC. We have the pipes that go around the hoses there. That helps hold them down into the bottom so your hoses don't float up to the top. I'm trying to see if I can get a shot of the Hudson float valve. You can kind of see it there off to the left. So as the water fills up in the tank, that's going to activate that Hudson float valve, and it's going to stop the flow of the water. So you don't need to worry about overflowing your tank. There's some common things that you want to keep an eye on. So that Hudson float valve will unscrew from inside of the tank, and there is a little screen filter on the top. So just unscrew it by hand, pull that out. Every 3 to 6 months or so, it's a good practice to keep that cleaned out so you don't have any issues there with water flow. One little tip I'll just throw in here. When you're hooking up your garden hose, it's a best practice to turn on the faucet and let the water run for a second. That's going to blow out all the bugs and debris and things out of your water spigot. Otherwise, if you hook your hose up, and we don't know when the last time that the hose has been hooked up to the house, you're going to blow all those bugs and debris all the way up through your hose, all the way through your hose reel, and then into your water tank, and it's just going to jam everything up. So again, let the water run for a second before you hook up your garden hose. You're going to have a lot less problems out there in the field. So these are all things that I've learned the hard way through the years of doing this, and hopefully if you're watching this video, Chris or anybody else watching it, this is going to shave some of those learning curves off of your experiences, and you won't have to go through some of those things that I went through. We'll go down over here. This is a 7-gallon soap tank. This has our nice aluminum mounting system with all stainless steel hardware. So that's mounted in there. That's going to be where the soap comes from when you're proportioning it through the mixing system there. Our soap is 5X, which means that we can use about 1 gallon of our apple suds that goes in here, and then we fill the rest up with water. So we do sell that online if you guys are interested in that soap. It's really good stuff. It can be used for downstream roofs, house washing, pretty much everything. It rinses well, which is a good aspect to have to your soap. Chris, if you are going to use any soap in this, make sure that it is something that is stable to be mixed with bleach. There's a lot of soaps out there. I see a lot of people using like laundry soaps and just different things to cut corners, but I would highly recommend a good quality soap. You don't have to get it from us. There's some good ones that I could recommend if there's something that's closer to you, but make sure you use a good soap. So like I said, 55-gallon water, 55-gallon bleach. If you take a look at these straps, we're not using any like packing strapping or anything weird like that. These are CNC cut. These are 100% stainless. So these fit these tanks. And if you look at the way that they're secured, all the way down, stainless steel straps. These are super wide, and then it has a cradle system. I'll try to get in here a little bit closer. So there's actually 16 bolts holding that cradle system to the bottom of the skid. And those are all 316 stainless. So we don't mess around here. Definitely don't want any tanks falling off of skids. We try to do this right. And that's on both tanks there. So you got a total of 32 pieces of hardware just holding the basin, not to account for the ones there on each side of the tanks. So those are built really nice and stout. These lids do have breather valves there on the top, so if there's any gases and things that build up, it's not going to build up inside your tank. I showed you the plumbing there. We have uniseals. We have this is the bypass, so this is a sweeping stainless steel 90 that goes into authentic banjo bulkhead here, so we don't use any of the cheap ones. This is a really thick polypropylene bulkhead here with actual banjo fittings. If you get a better look at this, there's a lot of aftermarkets and just cheaper alternatives to some of this hardware. One thing about banjo fittings, for anybody else watching this, If you use a cheap alternative, they're really thin. I have some in the shop. If you guys got questions about fittings, give me a holler or drop them down there in the comments. But I've compared them. I've looked at some of the other ones to see if it was comparable to Banjo, and there's just been nothing. Through 7 years of building these things, this is about the best you can get. So that's just what we use. We want this stuff to be high quality. We want it to last for anybody that's buying a skid from us. We'll go on over here to the other side. I'll kind of back up here so we can get an overview. This is a 5.5 gallon minute pressure washer, so 5.5 gallons per minute, 3,000 psi. This is the blacked out 390, and this is electric start. This is a custom built machine, so this is not something that you're going to typically find off the shelf. And I'll show you the back of it. So custom plate with the black electric start. Go over to the back here. This is a gear drive. So what this means is it's going to have a gear drive unit in between the motor and the pump. So Chris, as you get this skid, it's recommended that you do the oil change from us after about 50 hours. And you want to use a 10W30 on this. And there's a nice little spot there where you can drain your oil. So 10W30 on the machine after 50 hours, and then about every 100 after. If there's anything that I say that I recommend that is outside of a manufacturer's recommendations, follow their recommendations over mine. But after doing this a while, this is just what we do. So the gearbox in the pump, after about the first 100 hours on that, you want to change that out, and then it's about every 500 hours after, or every 3 months. So on the gearbox there, let me make this very clear. You have 3 different types of oil for this machine for these types of systems to work properly. So 10W30 on the machine, and then you get into the gearbox. This is a 90 weight. So that's a 90 weight gear oil. And then on the pump back there, it's 30 weight non-detergent oil. And we just use General Pump. We use all of the exact manufacturer recommended oils. We can ship you the GP pump oil if you want it. The 90 weight gear oil, you can get that at most auto parts stores. Lucas makes a really good 90 weight gear oil. You got the unloader. One thing I want to just mention here, this is factory set. I see a lot of people jimmy with these and mess with them, adjust them, and they think just because it's has a nice little handle on it, it's meant to be turned. It is not. It's meant to be turned to adjust it, to put it where it needs to be, and then not messed with. If you start messing with that, you're going to mess with the performance of the machine. Highly don't recommend it. So if you are needing to adjust the pressure, use a larger size tip. That's going to drop the pressure, but you're still going to get all of your flow. If anybody has any questions about that, or Chris, you have questions about it, Chris, give me a call. We'll go over it, but pretty plain and simple. Leave that thing alone. Use the right size tips. There's different things like M5 twists that you can use that'll give you a low pressure spray, but all of your volume. You have your T-Jet strainer down there. It's recommended to check that thing about every 3 months. There is a stainless steel strainer filter in there. So you just pull off, you just unscrew the bowl there. There's a 1-inch cap on the back there that you can let the water drain through it if you want, but really what you want to do is take this whole bowl off, clean it out, take it inside, rinse it out in your house, and then reinstall it. But again, if you're letting the water hose run, or letting the faucet run before you hook up your water hose, you're going to eliminate a lot of those problems. All really nicely ran plumbing here. This is all Curie-Tech 1/2-inch hose. This is the highest quality of poly braid hose that you can buy. That's what we've used. Everything sweeps up. Everything is secured to the strap there. So as you travel, you don't get weight and things that pull down on these types of fittings. So we've tried to think of everything on here and make sure that everything stays stable and it's going to work properly. In between the back there, that is your drain. So that is a 1-inch drain system, and we have it coiled up right here. So as you install this in whatever vehicle that you're going to install it in, usually what people do is it'll sweep off the side, and we've measured it. So then it would run along the side and then you can turn it off and on to drain it out the back of the vehicle. So that's what that is. I believe we've covered just about everything on this skid. The one thing I did not talk about is the actual base. So this actual base that this thing is built on is super high quality. This is aircraft grade aluminum. If you look at the hardware, these are all Allen heads. It's all flush and looks good. If you look at the cuts and the bends on this, everything is built with precision. So we'll just kind of go around and show you. There is fork pockets on here, so you're able to get up underneath this thing and load it into different vehicles if that's what you need to do. Yeah, really, I know this is kind of a long, detailed video, but hopefully, Chris, this helps you answer some questions about your new piece of equipment. Again, like I've said in several times throughout the video, if you have questions, you give us a call. Anybody that buys a skid from us is going to get 100% support. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. If you need to reach us outside of those hours, we do have a Facebook Messenger. You can just message me on Facebook, Tim Cray, search me, send me a friend request, and that'll give you a lot more support outside of our regular business hours. So Chris, I appreciate your purchase. I'm excited to get this over to you, and let me know if you have any questions. Anybody else watching the video, if you guys have questions, send them down there in the comments or get a hold of us. We do have a skid build request form on our website, pressurewashingskids.com. You can email me, tim@expertpowerwash.com, or give us a call here at the office, 503-403-6185. Have a great day.
We're all primed up.
Yep.
All right, hit the on and off switch.